Welcome to our 2022 Seller's Guide for any potential home sellers in the Boston area. These are tips and best practices, and we're really outlining the whole process of selling your home. Let me get quickly through the introduction here. Let me hustle through. I'm Craig Power with Power Realty Advisors, serving Greater Boston and the South Shore. I have experience selling homes, obviously, and my biggest point of pride is probably marketing. The marketing we do, nailing the home sale process altogether. So right off the bat, as a disclaimer, have to say, if you are thinking about selling, I hope you consider calling us. We'll do a free market analysis, share our business plan, and I'm confident you'll be impressed. Okay, so we're breaking this guide down to chapters you can see below. I want to start with things to know well in advance of listing. Then we'll talk about the listing and showing process, the timeline, and how it goes today. And then later, we need to talk about the market today, the market conditions, and reallocating your proceeds, the idea of buying and selling at the same time. I'm saving that for last. It is more logistics. Let's get into it. So you're considering selling. Are you going to put time and money into repairs, doing work on your home? Common question when we're doing a walkthrough, should I fix this? Should I paint that? Now, move-in ready homes certainly sell faster, and for higher, that's what people want. But to me, it depends on what you're doing and what you're spending. Consider cost versus value, or the cost versus the return. Material costs, labor costs, as we know, are crazy today. There's no point in spending $12,000 on a project that's gonna net you $4,000, especially if you're selling in the very near term and you won't even be enjoying the fruits of that labor yourself. Since COVID began, I have been landing much more on the side of selling as is. We want to consider not just your money, but your time. Moral of the story, if you're selling in the near term, unless it's something that is really going to affect a buyer's first impressions or we think it can net you a positive return, I'm usually on the side of not putting in much work. That's today in May of 2022 anyway. When's the best time to list your home? And to be clear, I'm mostly seeing this through the lens of Boston's suburban market for single family homes and condos, where we're mostly flat out busy 10 months out of the year, from mid-January to mid-November. Those 10 months, you really can't go wrong as long as you are avoiding certain weekends like the 4th of July, Memorial Day's hit or miss. I would say the best timing is actually February and March, weather permitting, right? Get a good weekend. The average consumer thinks the best time to list is April and May. The busiest open houses I went to this year were actually mid-January. If you go with February or March, you tend to beat the April and May sellers to the punch. April and May are still great, of course. Weather's better, so you're showing the house in a better condition. Everybody's always talking about the spring market, but for anything under $1 million anyway, I would say April and May just haven't been as good as February and March. Ultimately, buyers control the market, right? When the summer sets in, buyers get busy with vacations, weddings, events, and then usually what I've seen is by the late August market, it can, again, be hit or miss. It's not that it's not strong, but it can be hit or miss because of buyer fatigue. One question that comes up, people ask me about private sales or pocket listings, as we call them, off-market deals. A lot of off-market deals these days. I have strong feelings on this. In the case of a unique property or seller concern, maybe a pocket listing, maybe it makes sense. We advertise it off market. Maybe you, the seller, are worried about COVID. Maybe you really care about discretion. That's totally valid. Don't want people coming through your house. Or sometimes it makes sense for a unique feature or flaw being sold with the lot next to it or a failed septic, whatever. But beyond that, I think it's clearly a negative to sell off market. We have this all-time seller's market. Why would you do that? Buyers love off-market deals because it's usually a situation that favors the buyer. And as brokers, and this is where I have a stronger feeling about it, we have a fiduciary duty. It's our responsibility to get you the most money for your property. And clearly, the way to do that today is to get it on the open market, get it on the MLS, high visibility, and create competition. Why put yourself in a one-on-one negotiation when you can have a bidding war? That's just how I feel about it. Except rare cases, I think you are leaving money on the table, not putting it on the open market. Is that off-market offer not gonna be there anymore if you put it on the market? Let's talk about pricing. You have to get the list price right. And it's a good time to mention our local real estate market. It's kind of two different markets. We have our regular single family and condo market, and then there's the luxury market, over $1 million, or really starts at like 1.2 million. It's a different market. They call for different strategies. Any home up to, I call it 1.2 today. I think the correct strategy is assess your market value, come in a little under, right? Come in a little under. You want competition, which means you want multiple offers, which means you need foot traffic, which means you need eyeballs and clicks. Come in a little under. What you don't want is to be price dropping. We say the same thing about the back on market tag. People see certain things and jump to the conclusion the second they click on the listing, there's something wrong with your listing. And as time goes on, competition and momentum go away, and you open yourself up to more one-on-one negotiation. For pricing in the luxury market, it's a more specific buyer. You assume and you prepare for one-on-one negotiation. So in that case, I prefer the opposite approach. Assess market value, and I'm okay going a little higher. Begin the negotiation from a higher point. And it's also true in the luxury market. The pace is different. You'll have more days on market. You wait longer between price drops. If you are in fact doing work on your property prior to sale, you might be wondering about the top design trends. If you want to capture that market, right? The cosmetic trends you read about, well, they say green is the paint color. I've seen some of that. The number one interior design trend of 2022 is actually plants and greenery. That's more of a staging thing. But keeping it more basic, the mass appeal checklist for your home is like subway tile backsplash, quartz countertops, breakfast bars, and then on the higher end, it's modern versus mid-century modern. Open houses versus private showings. What is your best method for your agent to show the property? I strongly prefer the open house approach. For anything that's built for the mass audience, there are reasons to do private showings, maybe similar to the reasons for doing an off-market sale. Discretion, unique circumstances, don't want looky-loos, don't want the whole neighborhood coming by the house. On the higher end, obviously it serves you to do private accompanied showings in the luxury market, if only to control the presentation. But if you want top dollar, you want competition, which means you want to do open houses. The standard timeline for a new listing today is get listed on Wednesday morning before lunch. That's how I like to do it. Get on all the websites so people browsing on break can see. You have a couple days of visibility before 2 open houses over the weekend, 2 hours or more each. I usually won't even take showings before the open house. And then you want all that demand to crescendo into an offer deadline Monday or Tuesday. You want multiple offers, and you want people to have to show strong terms to outbid each other. If you're doing private showings over an extended period, you're just opening the door to more one-on-one negotiation. Fees, very important. What does it cost to sell your home? The fee structure you'll see today is always subject to change, but between 4 and 5% of the final sale price. Included in that fee is also the buyer's agent compensation. So if you are selling a $600,000 property with a 4% fee, the total real estate commission is $24,000 off the top. That's 4% taken from your proceeds at closing. Half, so $12,000, goes to your listing agent. The other $12,000, the other half, goes to the buyer's agent. They all have splits with their brokers, they pay taxes on it, et cetera, et cetera. For a long time around Boston, the typical fee has been 5%. That has come down in the direction of 4% in recent years. I've been watching it happen in real time. If you are paying 5%, you should definitely be getting top of the line marketing. My pitch to people, and I'll mention it here, I have to mention it here, right? It's very simple. I'm only charging 4%, and we do high-end marketing like the 5%ers. Now we're getting into marketing. What is the special sauce to marketing your home? Well, it's professional photography and a thorough listing, signage, anything promotional. Quick aside here, my biggest point of pride is dynamic marketing campaigns, doing all the things to get sellers the best possible return. I'm not sharing our business plan here. Again, I'll say, referring back to the beginning, and again, I didn't want this to turn into a whole commercial, but you can contact us directly for a free market analysis. It's a very detailed plan, and it includes what we do differently from a marketing perspective. Going back to the listing timeline, let's say the open house is over and now we have an offer deadline. We're reviewing offers. It's not just about price. As a seller today, you are in the driver's seat. You get to dictate terms. Just to be direct with you, are you worried about a home inspection? I've seen inspectors tear new construction to pieces. Are we worried about appraisals? Do we have any strong preferences on closing dates? How does this affect your next purchase, right? Buying and selling at the same time. Your agent will hopefully diagnose all this with you. You should be considering all this and the qualifications of the buyer, and it happens pretty fast. Hopefully you are emotionally prepared to accept an offer. Sometimes we put a listing up and say, hey, we want to close further out. This is subject to the seller's suitable housing needs, and many buyers may be good with that. But your strongest offer, it may come in 25 grand higher than everybody else, except they say, nope, we want to be in there by X date. That's the offer, and only you can decide if the juice is worth the squeeze there. I had a seller ask me a little over a week ago, how will COVID affect the market? That's a valid question, but I don't think it will, barring any major surges. For the most part, we are in the post-COVID world, and therefore the post-COVID housing market. Some people will always have their concerns and wear masks, and that's certainly good with me, to each their own. Probably the only way it will affect our market today would be the economics of other countries, lockdowns in China, I don't know. I'm not qualified to make too many predictions there. Fortunately, a lot of people I went to high school with are geopolitical geniuses on Facebook, so I can just listen to them. After offer acceptance, or before if you're an overachiever, you are going to get your real estate attorney hired. Here in Mass, they're going to assist you with the purchase and sale agreement and ultimately with closing. I'm gonna link another video I did here. It's a checklist for after your purchase and sale agreement is signed, going through the smoke inspection and getting any necessary paperwork done. I guess the last thing I should be talking about is the market outlook. This is, after all, the 2022 Seller's Guide. At the time I'm posting this, May of 2022, we have interest rates on the way up, going up fast, and price appreciation seems to be slowing down. A lot of talking heads are saying recession. A recession almost feels likely, but I don't expect a recession in housing. 4 out of the last 6 recessions, property values actually went up. You can go back years now in my videos where I've been saying no crash. Since peak COVID, I've been saying that. I believe prices will stabilize here. The year-over-year appreciation we've seen has been absurd. It's felt unsustainable. So the interest rate hikes ultimately are a good thing to me and a necessary thing. I'm an optimist, and if we get to a more even market, maybe you, the seller, you can put your house on the market with potentially less demand later, but you'll have more options to buy. So there's less of that strain. That's not a full-on prediction. I'm just an optimist. The tough thing today is buying and selling at the same time. I'm gonna link a video I did with Mike Nielsen, loan officer with Guaranteed Rate, where he talked about a few different options. Sometimes it's as simple as you can carry 2 mortgages, and then sometimes it's as simple as you have to close on your home before you buy the next thing. We talk strategies for that. Wrapping up, I have to say, we lose out on listings occasionally because people talk to another broker who just blurts out an idiotic high number and they like what they hear. They want to price it high and they realize they got spun a little bit later, but now they're married to the listing agent. So as a cautionary tale in my industry, I put a lot of thought and consideration into pricing. There are a lot of great brokers around Boston, around the South Shore, but then some of our competition is a lot less careful. Thank you again for watching. Contact me directly at craig@powerrealtyboston.com or through our website listed below in the description. Any inquiry on our site goes directly to my email, and I'm always happy to help with any real estate related questions. No matter how early in the selling or buying process you are, I'm here to be a resource. Check out our other videos, subscribe to the page. Thank you, and have a great day.